let's let's start the show.
They still do Barney episodes with the dude in the suit. It's not animated or anything yet. It is still dude in a suit. Anyways, speaking of dudes in a suit, welcome to the One About Godzilla movies. That's Brian wearing his 1981 Inventions t-shirt. Shout out to Matt Hoops. I own everything you've ever made, and I love it. And I'm Caleb. I'm wearing I've got 1953 Godzilla, his mugshot from the Tokyo Police Department.
1953?
54, whatever.
Taken before he was cast in this movie as Godzilla.
220, 221, whatever it takes.
That's the first reference you've made that my dad also makes. I don't know how to interpret that one.
That's a great movie.
I don't remember what it's from, and I don't think I've seen it. Whatever it's from, he just says that a lot.
It's Michael Keaton and Mr. Mom.
That's right.
He's like redoing the lights in his kitchen or something, and his neighbor walks
I have seen
in. He's
Mr.
like,
Mom.
"Yeah, you doing 220?" He's like, "Yeah, 220, 221, whatever it takes."
Which makes so much more sense why my dad would think that's funny, because he literally is an electrical engineer and knows all the electrical code. And yes, that joke was written for him.
But also that 221 is not possible. You can't.
It's not a thing. It's literally like electrician humor.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Whatever it takes. Welcome
to... This is the One About Godzilla movies.
Yeah, I already said that part. Today we're discussing the movie Godzilla vs. Destoroyah. And I know you've got your things that you want to talk about, because that's the whole point of the show. When we get to it, I really want to focus just on like monster design and the suits and all of the really cool visual effects and stuff that kind of happened with the monsters in this film, because it was just so tasty. We'll
absolutely end up touching on some of those as just from some of the stuff I wrote down. It's inevitable.
But so essentially, to just kind of give you a quick TLDR, this film takes place kind of almost directly after the death of Space Godzilla, shortly after the death of Space Godzilla, and then the island where all of that stuff happened, Birth Island, where like the big crystals and stuff, and Space Godzilla like trapped little Godzilla and everything. That island, all of a sudden, we're back on that island. That island just like blows up, and so then
it's like simmering and melting and disappearing into the sea.
Yeah, it just kind of like is gone.
Yeah.
So then Godzilla Jr. or Little Godzilla is like presumed dead. They are trying to like figure that out, and then Godzilla shows up in Hong Kong, but he's like glowing, and then there's also some like sciencey stuff going on the side, and we're getting rumors and mentions of like the oxygen destroyer from the very first movie and how that kind of technology is going to factor in here.
They call it like Micro-Oxygen or something?
Micro-Oxygen, yeah.
Micro-Oxygen.
Yeah. So there's scientists working on this thing called Micro-Oxygen, and they're going to use it like, of course, everybody wants to use it for some humane kind of thing, and like, but there's all this back and forth about, well, it could be used as a weapon, and like, all this back and forth about it. And eventually they realize what's going on with Godzilla, that he is melting down. Essentially, his body can't take the fusion anymore, or the fission, nuclear
fission. His reactor is like overdoing it, overheating.
His heart is giving out, basically. And so they realize that this like micro-oxygen might be a way to like stop him, or at least like lighten the effects of whatever's going to happen to him or something, right? So now they're like, well, we are going to have to kind of develop it into a weapon and blah, 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 blah. At the same time...
They're concerned about him like literally exploding initially.
Yeah. And like taking out the entire world with him, basically. Which is kind of cool. There's actually like there's a Netflix anime series about not quite that kind of thing, but like Godzilla gets so huge that he basically destroys the planet and like makes it uninhabitable for life on Earth, and that's why we have to flee Earth, because he's just become this like planet eating thing. Basically, it's kind of a cool idea.
What's that called?
Heck if I know off the top
Put you on the spot.
Yeah, I don't know. It's off the top of my head. It might even be called like Godzilla Planet Eater or something. It's like it was a 3-run series on Netflix. From I don't know. I feel like probably around the pandemic is when it came out, around there, 2018, 19,
Planet
20.
of the Monsters?
Maybe. That sounds maybe
That's
right.
2017?
Yeah. Is it an anime?
Yeah, it says a desperate group of refugees attempts to recolonize Earth 20,000 years after Godzilla took over.
Yeah. So it's a little alien. It's a little like, it's pretty cool.
Okay.
So back to this movie. So there's like, Godzilla is showing up and they're like, holy crap, he's going to destroy the world. And then there's Mickey, Sagusa, and this other small like group of telekinetic people that are trying to find little Godzilla. And then there's this scientist that was the guy that was developing Micro-Oxygen. He took a trip to the original site where the oxygen destroyer was used in the 1954 film to kill Godzilla. He went there and he took some soil samples.
Yeah, in a tunnel.
And he's like, he's searching for any signs of life in this thing, in this like soil that he's taken. He's doing a bunch of experiments. And at one point they talk about how like they're kind of like confused, like they're not finding anything, and they could have swore that they'd had something in this soil and blah, blah, blah. And then they notice that there's dirt on the desk, and the one dude picks up like a vial, and there's a crack out of it, like something had escaped out of the dirt. So then out of nowhere, these like giant crab-looking things start showing up and freaking everybody out and attacking people, and they try burning them with fire. And it turns out that these things are little organisms that took on micro-oxygen and kind of have gone through the exact same thing that Godzilla had gone through in terms of like evolving and changing into these things, right? So
Pokemon stages, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. So here we've got now this thing that they come to call Destroyer, and it's trying to end the world or like, whatever. And then Godzilla, who is an even bigger threat because if they don't figure him out, he's going to just destroy the entire world. And then little Godzilla / Godzilla Jr., who is just kind of like, reappears. He's bigger. He's got, so here's our...
They call him Junior in this movie. Yeah. He's sort of like, teenager Godzilla.
Yeah. And so to not like, I mean, I guess I'll spoil it, whatever. So there's like several fights. There's the back and forth of them trying to figure out how they're going to like fight Godzilla, fight Destoroyah, blah, 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 blah. And when we get to kind of the start of the final battle, they've used Junior via telekinetics. They've had Mickey and what is the other girl's name? Millie?
I don't remember her name. Was she in previous films, or was she just working at G-Force?
I think
they had a little conversation about it.
She was like in the last film, I think, but like she's the sister. She's the sister of the nerdy dude that they bring in. Yeah, but she's the one that wrote that paper or something too. So she's like already ultra smart and already working for the government, and they bring her on. But so we get to this battle. Destoroyah takes Junior, flies him out to the airport, and then drops him on a building, basically killing him. And then Godzilla and Destoroyah fight. That's back and forth for a while. Eventually, Godzilla defeats Destoroyah because it's Godzilla. His heart continues to fail. His body reaches 1,200 degrees. We reach the point where he is going to melt down, and they begin freezing him with the new version of the Super X2, the Super X3, and these like ultra low temperature lasers. And Godzilla's skin melts off, and then, everybody thinks he's dead. And then last shot is just this zoom in of a perfectly fine, healed, maybe assumedly Junior Godzilla standing where Godzilla had just melted down, and we just
absorbed all of the radioactivity.
All the radioactivity went away. We saw that. Yeah, I forgot about that part. That's kind of cool.
Well, it went into him.
Yeah, he absorbs all of that radioactivity and takes on the mantle, rises from the ashes, a child no more. In death, Godzilla passes on to the next generation. So, yeah, spitting image of his father, no less. Flexes his claws, bellows, and then that's the end.
Credits.
That's we roll credits, and that is supposed to have been the last Godzilla movie ever. Yeah. So
at that time, they were like, we're done.
Yeah, that's it. And then they said, hey, TriStar, do you want to make a Godzilla movie?
And then they're like, actually, we gotta make some more to make up for that.
Now we have to I almost swore. We have to undo everything you just did.
Yep.
So,
which makes a lot of sense.
Like I said at the end of the last episode, when we were talking about
summary.
Watching this movie,
is it still one of your favorites?
Yeah, definitely top 4. Definitely top 4 Godzilla movies.
Okay.
I didn't fall asleep through this one. There wasn't a point where I wanted to not be watching it anymore.
That's a low bar, but we passed it.
I know. Well, hey, especially later, lately.
Last couple have been tough.
Yeah, let's dig in, dude. What did you like about this movie? What did you think of this movie? How do we do this?
Okay. Overall, this movie is way better than the last few. Kind of obviously. I think some of the biggest problems with it are what they still haven't figured out, which is interesting, compelling human stories in it. They still don't know what to do with the humans or why any of it matters. And ultimately, it comes down to what looks cool and the fights. And this movie shines in those categories, I think. The human stuff is just kind of all right.
Yeah, which I mean, like you said a minute ago, is a low bar, but is definitely better than the last few films. And
Toho in these movies just doesn't really know how to tell human stories for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah,
it's strange. Though we have a lot more seriousness and depth to this movie than in quite a while. That's not serious overall. It gets a lot more serious towards the end. Definitely kind of somber at the end. This feels to me a little bit like a spiritual successor to the original movie. Obviously, the bridge being the Return of Godzilla in the 80s. Mm-hmm. But yeah, just with the theming of the Oxygen Destroyer, kind of reflection on nuclear powers, things that could go wrong, potentially destroying the whole Earth, things like that. Mm-hmm. Kind of puts a little more of a serious tone over it overall. I did find myself thinking in one moment, just as this super pulsating Godzilla is just moving through the city, how numb are they to these cities being destroyed? Or I feel like that's a thing that isn't really addressed movie to movie, is every movie, a whole city, at least, if not 5, gets completely destroyed and razed to the ground.
Yeah.
They don't often really address rebuilding in sort of the implied they have to rebuild a whole city every time kind of a thing. They don't really talk about that. As every movie, somehow the city that is being invaded is fine and then gets destroyed. So how many times has Tokyo been destroyed?
Yeah, I mean, it's it's like an episode of Family Guy, how many times, or The Simpsons, how many times has their house been blown to smithereens? And
it's always there.
We just got a new, next episode.
Yeah. So
it's a very, it's I've always wondered about that. Even since I was a kid, it was just like, how, even though it was just like an in-universe, this is all fake kind of thing. But yeah, just like how, that would suck to have to just be constantly rebuilding.
Yeah.
And then it made me think it makes me think of Evangelion, where like when an angel shows up and all of Tokyo 3 just like shifts down, they like suck the whole city like underground. Yeah.
Yeah. This movie has a lot of cool stuff.
It sure does.
And that's why I think it is so much better. I don't think the human storylines are much better, but the cool stuff is much cooler.
Yeah.
So cool points. We have Godzilla like glowing orange. His eyes are like orange.
Yeah.
Like his whole chest has this area that's like,
it's like the Batman
glowing
symbol
from within.
Yeah.
And then it'll like pulsate as well. Like throughout the whole movie.
Yep. He's just getting worse.
So they
and
obviously
worse
built a suit that had a light source inside of it so that it could be glowing. And then I can't tell, but it looks like the pulsating part maybe was like drawn on after or was an effect after the fact.
I mean, I even marveled at like as I was watching,
it's like hand drawn almost.
That there was like there were the lighting elements in like the chest and like those bigger areas like arms and legs and stuff, but that they did glow effect on the like spines as well, but that it wasn't just like there were little. It was like the outlines of the spines, or they were glowing from within a little bit, like at the base and the tips and stuff like that. I just thought it was really cool, like such a great look and such a like. I mean, I guess it's the 90s, but it's like that's more easily achievable practically today, I would think, because of LEDs and the state of like batteries and stuff. Whereas, I mean, I guess still in the 90s, things were already kind of getting smaller, but still, it's kind of their costume department did a really killer job on this movie with, I think, that model and Destoroyah. Like, holy cow.
Maybe some of their best work.
Yeah.
At least on the Godzilla end of things.
Yeah.
So... yeah. So, I mean, the movie does start the way you were saying earlier. They go to look for that island, and then they kind of see it simmering into the sea, just out of sight. But like pretty much shortly after, we have the emergence of Godzilla glowing out of the ocean, and he's just kind of like walking through, I forget the city.
Hong Kong.
Destroying city. And it's over that footage of him just kind of destroying through the opening credits just kind of come in. So we just have opening credits just over the B-roll of Godzilla destroying a city. That's really cool.
Yeah.
There were a few really bad English dialogue moments in the very, 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 very early in the film. Thankfully, like not too bad after that. Some like a weird, quirky, that's not how people talk kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Which I thought we had gotten over that, but I guess not.
No, never.
And one, especially, I think this is in the Hong Kong sequence, but there was like some really, really cool detail on the miniatures of like neon sign work.
Yeah.
With Godzilla destroying, where I think that like that neon sign work in the miniatures like really kind of sold it being real. It made it look less like a miniature, honestly.
Yeah.
Like having all those glowing neon signs.
Yeah.
And then he's destroying through it.
I had
it
a
looked
thought.
More real.
It was later on in the film when they're fighting all of the multiple bigger destroyers before they go into the big one. This is, I think, one of the first times that I've noticed that there was rain or like inclement weather happening to the models. Like their little like the tanks and cars and stuff were wet. They were like actually, and yeah, the models of the destroyers were wet and stuff too. So you could see things like dripping off of the destroyers, and yeah, it just, like you said, brought a whole nother element of it feeling real.
Yeah, the model work was like out of this world in this movie, I think. Not a lot of my notes are about the human stuff. I like a little bit of it.
Yeah.
We do have, okay, so I think his last name is Yaman, whatever, this kid who's like, Godzilla's my hobby, whatever, and I wrote this thesis, but G-Force wouldn't hear it, so I sent it to the Americans, and they were showing like a news clip about this kid, and then a scientist guy comes and grabs him, and he has no interest in working with G-Force. And then I think they mentioned that they have Mickey on their team, and he becomes very excited and wants to come be a part of it because there's a chance of finding Junior Godzilla. To
tie all that together a little bit, this kid, Kenichi Yamane, he is the adopted grandson of Dr. Yamane, who was like assistant to what's his face?
Serizawa?
Serizawa in the original film.
From the original movie.
Yeah. Yep. So
that's what they cooked up anyways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the way to like bring him in. So, and then the other girl that works with Mickey is his sister.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, they're like, we want you to come work here. We want you to come where they're like, and then like, okay, well, if what happens is Mickey calls him on the phone and calls the doctor dude or whatever that's trying to recruit the kid on the phone. And he's like, oh, you're back already. I'll be right there.
That's right.
And
he gets a call.
And he goes, was that Mickey Sagusa? And he's, so then
he's apparently a big fan.
Yes.
So
can't blame him.
Yeah. I mean, he basically is just like, I have this theory I think that there's a nuclear reactor in Godzilla, and that's his heart. It's just this thing that I think. And then they're like, wow, we need you to be on our team because that is definitely true. And then
okay, so
they just really just take his theory as fact, and he's just a resident expert for the rest of the movie.
Yeah. You're just because you're the adopted grandson of Dr. Yamane or whatever. Yeah. Okay. I really take this and you can directly contrast it with what they did in Shin Godzilla, because Shin Godzilla they come to the same conclusion. He's powered by nuclear fission, and everybody thinks it's a joke at first, but then they actually they start doing the math and they get that and then there's that scene where the dude starts screaming and he slams the laptop down, and suddenly you're looking through the laptop screen as they and he's like, Miss Sagusha was right. But
they actually tested it.
Exactly. Such a better way to take that theory, because she just said maybe it's nuclear fission, and she's actually right. But it was still just an inkling, and but the one dude was like, you're fucking crazy. And then 10 minutes later, anyways. To be told, Lemon Tree.
Yeah.
So, I think it's this movie. No, that instance from this movie was like one of the things that they lifted for Shin Godzilla. It was an idea and the freezing, right? But I think that they just did way better in Shin Godzilla than this movie for sure. So, props to that team.
Yeah, they also throughout the movie, they're making a lot of vague claims about if Godzilla explodes or if he melts or whatever, it's gonna be the same as all of the nuclear realms on Earth, and then later they're like, it's the same as 100 H bombs, and then I don't know, they're just throwing out numbers.
Yeah, and it's
not really justifying it.
It reminds me of early franchise stuff.
Even saying that,
it reminded me of early franchise stuff that I've complained about, where it's just we've all of a sudden got this red fruit, blah, here's the solution. We've just all of a sudden got this machinery. Here's just these weapons. It's
almost as if, the producers and writers and directors of these movies don't view the genre as something that is worth having something that grounds it or has an element of realism.
Which is so wild because it exists side by side, especially at this point.
It's a kaiju film. It doesn't need that.
Well, yeah, but
it's not hard to do that.
No, but especially at this point where it exists side by side with things like Star Trek, Star Wars. This is the 90s. That they still just blatantly there are animes that this exists side by side with. Gundam. That's the only one that comes to mind. Neon. Well, we're almost to Neon Genesis. That just have incredible stories and take the time to figure out details like that, because it's like I don't know. Yeah, it's like, that's a kaiju movie. People don't care. They just want to see Godzilla blow stuff up. Well, no.
You could try. I don't. So, anyways, there's a lot of science talk. They're talking about the Oxygen and Destoroyah stuff. There's the guys being interviewed. There's a reporter lady who's kind of throughout the film. They're talking about it could be used for evil, all those kinds of things. A whole lot of conversations. I wasn't interested in a lot of them. There's a lot of flashbacks, especially in that section, and then also later on from 1954, where they're kind of like, yeah.
Did you catch who so that lady that they go talk to, the old lady, it's what's his face's grandma or whatever. She is the same woman from the 54 movie that like reprised that role.
Really?
Yeah. The one that is like, well, it was only ever, like, we can't.
Yeah, she had like.
We have to allow his legacy to remain what it was, or whatever. Yeah, like basically trying to convince him to not do anything about it.
Yeah, they probably could have set it up better. I like the flashbacks. It wasn't just like B-roll clips. It was like there's some moments where they're talking about Serizawa, and they were kind of and they were showing him, and then clips of showing the Oxygen Destroyer in action.
Yeah, some of that felt like it felt like news flashbacks. Footage a little bit, or like found footage more than B-roll. Like it had been somebody's random camera taking that footage that day or something. Kind
of almost documentary-ish, but it tied this movie to 1954 Godzilla at some key moments in a nice way. Big fan of that.
Yeah.
Okay, we have the aquarium. This aquarium thing.
Yeah, the really aquarium scene, dude.
So, okay. Before this, I guess they're building a road tunnel underneath Tokyo Bay. It's under construction. There's, I guess, an elevator started melting, and they're like, what's going on there? So, sciencey guy goes out and collects some soil samples.
Fun fact, that tunnel that they're digging under Tokyo Bay is the tunnel that we open in, or that is like shortly in the beginning of Shin Godzilla, where the leak comes through and all the like weird bloody stuff. That's that same tunnel.
Amazing. Love that. But it's under construction. I assume in real life under construction at the time, and they like found a way to use that.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
The point of using it was, hey, we're digging under the ground and we're finding fossils and stuff, because this is like under the bay, right? We're finding these fossils and things from periods a long time ago. And so anyways, sciencey guy goes down, gets some soil samples. And he's like testing it and stuff. And that's one of the vials is where this organism escapes from. That I guess he surmises the micro-oxygen like gave life to or caused to mutate or something. It's very hand wavy. Mm-hmm. A lot of things in this movie are hand wavy. Mm-hmm. But anyways, so we're shown that it is escaped. There's a little hole in the vial. They like escaped. Something has got out. We don't know what it is yet.
Yeah.
So we cut to an aquarium at night, and there's this guard walking around, and all of a sudden, dude, there's just like electricity going on, and then like these fish just start like disintegrating into pieces.
Yeah.
It's a really, really cool effect.
Away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bubbles, all this crazy stuff.
Like they were boiled alive kind of a thing. Just down to the bone. And then they show like all these fish skeletons at the bottom of the tank, and and then they're reviewing the footage, and they're like, they see this little thing flit across the screen.
Yeah, and they do the like the CSI, exactly, enhance,
generate 3D model,
just like stuff that
they're spinning a 3D model around
stuff that would take modern computers a generous amount of time and power to do, and they're just doing it in 1993 on their Apple IIs. Yeah, right, dude. Like
it's really silly. But anyways, they conclude a thing escaped. Later, some more conversations happen. Do you have something to say?
Yeah, we're going to pause here for station identification. Welcome back, everybody.
Yeah, I know what I was going to say. Okay, so there's some more conversations that happen amongst the humans that I've immediately forgotten and didn't care about. And then there's two fairly large at this point creatures running around under a bridge, and they, I guess, call all of the cops to engage with them because that makes sense. And they're trying to find them.
There, maybe, who knows?
Yeah, and then they get some like more military stuff going on. It seems like the cops, and then like the media, and then like military folks with like monster fighting weapons. You know, more appropriate monster fighting weapons than cop pistols.
Anti-kaiju artillery.
Sure. AK-47s, it looked like. Apparently that's the move.
Flamethrowers. There were flamethrowers.
But they're basically, they heard reports of like some large creatures running around, and they're going through this building trying to find them. This is like a mood shift in the movie where it very quickly feels like we're in a movie from the Alien series.
Yes.
It's very survival horror.
I love it.
Hunting for a hidden creature, and it's, you know, in the rafters kind of looking down at them. Ultimately, this is not Alien, this is Aliens, because we go into James Cameron action, shooting, fighting, kind of face off.
Yep.
They like do this thing where they're like their head kind of like it buzzes with electricity, and then they kind of breathe like fire out of their mouth, kind of some kind of energy out of their mouth, and then there's like this weird warp effect, and then it just kind of like throws people around or kills them or something. I don't. Maybe you have a different interpretation. It's a little more vague at this stage of the evolution of Destoroyah, I would say, but there's two of them.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of action. Yeah, I like the alien stuff. It was like a cool... I don't think that's something we've seen in one of these movies where it's kind of like a survival horror moment.
Yeah.
Of the movie.
Yeah, other than I feel like Minya / Little Godzilla, there hasn't been a kaiju that's like human-sized or, you know,
small
roughly...
enough to be in a building.
Yeah, small enough to be in a building and small enough to like it corners that one girl, the news reporter girl, in the car, rips the car apart trying to get her. It does the little alien like thing out of its mouth, like, you know.
The closest might be, I think it's the beginning of Return of Godzilla, where there's the ship, and then there's a guy investigating the ship that's abandoned, and there's like the little horseshoe crab kind of a thing. That's almost like a face hugger moment is clearly what they're trying to do there.
Yeah.
But that's probably the closest example. Yeah. Back in 84.
Yeah, that, and then because there is that one random moment, they're on an island somewhere and the spider is like putting its legs in, but again, that's a giant spider trying to kill them, so it doesn't count.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's more of a classic monster thing. So anyway, some cool action. The design here on the heads is interesting. I didn't love the movement of these creatures at the stage, I will say.
Pretty stiff.
It was clear that there wasn't really a human inside. Mm-hmm. They must not have been able to use any like wide shots of the creatures. It was a lot of series of close-ups of like feet and then head and then something like whirring by and then kind of the feet scuttling and then the head doing the thing. They were shooting around something that they needed to avoid. I'm assuming they had like this thing on wheels.
Yeah, I mean the head part could have been
and then a bunch of like just the head part, and then like just like the leg mechanism part, and like so they were like shooting all these individual pieces, which all stitched together, I don't think quite added up to feeling like shots of a real thing. It was a little quirky. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. But the mouth design was really interesting. So they had like something that my first reaction immediately was, oh, that's a predator mouth, because they have like these spikes that are aiming inwards, and they'd open it. They kind of open, not as much as like a predator mouth, but they had like these spikes in the mouth in a similar fashion. And then there's a face-off moment where mouth opens more, and then a miniature second mouth punches out like a tongue with the spikes. I'm like, you're just combining Predator and xenomorphs here.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah.
It wasn't original, but it was cool. They just kind of combined Predator mouth and Xenomorph mouth.
Good artist
it's an interesting idea for kaiju.
Great artist steal.
So,
Who said that? Ben Franklin?
Yeah. That might have been Thomas Edison.
Banksy?
Too real? Yeah, so all that happens. I have more notes, but I think it's definitely further along the plot. I wrote down Steaming Godzilla because I don't remember at the beginning of the movie, but they clearly have a stage with a suit where there's all these like pockets in the suit where they have dry eyes or something, or fog machines or something. It's just like steam is just coming out of his
billowing
body.
Out of him,
and it looked awesome.
Yeah.
However they did it, it looked great.
Yeah.
And like the whole rest of the movie, it's like there's just steam coming out of his body.
Yeah. So, I mean, essentially what happens from
really
here
cool.
is like once we get the Destoroyahs introduced, it really is just kind of like a race against the clock. The humans know that Godzilla is going to melt down when he reaches 1200 degrees Celsius, which in Fahrenheit is whatever it is. And dang it, I wanted to not laugh there. And so it's humans trying to figure out what to do about this. Godzilla is raiding nuclear reactors to replenish himself and kind of like keep going because he's burning through material faster and faster. So he's hit Hong Kong. Was it Hong Kong, Taiwan?
I forgot the locations.
The first place in Japan, and he's headed for Tokyo. And they're just kind of like, at one point they use Mickey and the other girl to like telepathically control Junior and send him to Tokyo because they know
they want to use him as bait.
They know Destoroyah will follow. And I did want to point out that that whole entire sequence, it happens over the course of one day, a few hours, and they do a really good job. It kind of jumps all of a sudden, especially like when Godzilla shows up, all of a sudden it's night, but it had been day just previous to that, and like the light shifts and gets slightly darker as they head towards like the end of the initial Junior and Destoroyah fight. I almost said Hedorah. Destoroyah fight, like it's kind of getting a little darker, and then and I thought that arrival of Godzilla, because he just pops up and it's dark and he's steaming and glowing and just roar
out of the water.
So cool. Yeah, just
super cool.
Yep. I really enjoyed the look of. There were a few moments of scale in this movie that really stood out to me. One was as Junior is walking into Tokyo, he's come out of the bay, and he's just kind of loping along, and you can still see how tall some of the skyscrapers are. And then Destoroyah shows up and is decidedly bigger than Junior and beats the crap out of him, right? Like huge. And then Godzilla shows up and starts like calling for Junior, and they come to meet up, and it's like Junior looked really big, and then Godzilla is, like 1.5 still of Junior tall. And then freaking Destoroyah, final form Destoroyah shows up, and it's even bigger than Godzilla, dude. Like it's
like Mothra size almost.
Yeah, absolutely.
With the wings.
Huge, with the wings especially. And I love that they just kind of kept building, like, we're just going to keep going, and we're going to show you that these things are huge.
Before that final form, I was struggling a little bit with Destoroyah in that, I mean, there were a lot of evolutions, but there was a mode where there was sort of like the 6 legs, but then he was like flying. Yeah,
it changes forms. They do that like shifty, glittery thing like they did for Mothra or whatever, and it's supposed to be it like rearranging itself or like into.
I didn't remember seeing a moment like that. So there were like,
there's one moment. It's during the Junior fight, they only show it one time, but it after it flies and attacks him a couple times, like knocks him down. It's a really short shot. They like show Junior on the ground and then switch to, it's just like shimmery red instead of like all gold like Mothra's is, but like red sparkly, and then here's six-legged version of Destoroyah. Crab version or whatever.
I think they switched back and forth a few times.
Yeah, but I think
there was like,
they didn't ever show him doing that. Like they didn't show the red dust sparkle thing again, which they should have. Like why? Like so
it was either like wings and then like
there's flight mode and ground mode basically. Yeah,
and then like the other mode was there's no wings, but there's definitely 6 legs.
Yeah,
and they didn't. I don't know. They look like 2 different evolutions to me, rather than being something that would make sense to switch between. But I guess they wanted to have them fly and then also have a ground mode. So
yeah.
I think it would have been better to like have like a way for the wings to still be there and kind of fold back or something, or have it like be one design that worked for both before the final evolution. But
yeah, and I can't tell if it was like a poorly described way of Destoroyah adapting to the environment kind of thing, and those revolutions happening in real time kind of thing. That's how I would explain it anyways. But yeah.
The JSDF is back in this movie.
Yeah, dude.
Ever since a few movies ago where they quit and they were like, we didn't like what you did. I forget which one it was. They were like offended by, I think the JSDF like firing on something.
Oh yeah.
It kind of made them look like jerks. They're like, we're not gonna be
in this movie. Yeah.
So, but they're back.
Yep.
Officially
they're back,
flying special jet.
Yeah. So the Super X3, which is the new version of the Super X2 that we saw in Godzilla vs. Biollante. It's got the crazy gun on the front still. They've upgraded
all some new stuff though.
Upgraded all the weapons. Everything is cadmium-based heads and ultra-low temperature lasers. And
because they're trying to
freeze this guy this time.
They're trying to cryo freeze things in this movie. Yep. So all of their weaponry has sort of been re-outfitted to cool things down rather than heat them up, which doesn't really align with science, but it just means on screen you make it blue and then you say that it's cold, I guess.
Hey.
So there's a bunch of, I think they did like I don't remember what point this was, but they did a freeze test on Godzilla.
Yeah.
When he was still kind of like half in the water.
Yeah. It's a really
really cool actually.
Yeah.
They put a lot of effort in that scene.
Yeah.
Probably one of the best looking ones.
And that's
where
another.
It just kind of looks like he's starting to freeze over.
Yeah.
Like, however they did that, I don't know how they did it. It looks so
breaks
good.
Free, dude. Yeah, it looks so great. That's another like thing that they lifted for Shin Godzilla as well. He does that when they stick the like cranes of the solution in his mouth and it starts to freeze him. Then he breaks free and they have to go a second time.
Yeah,
so great.
There is a very small amount of CG in that scene that I recognized. There's also like the very like last shot of the movie is some early CG, and I think actually worked pretty well. CG is not a great term. Specifically, the freezing scene, there was a little morphing, where it was like the guy in the suit with like his head is starting to freeze over like makeup on the suit, if you will, and then they like morphed from that head to like a fully frozen body miniature prop that they had in the exact same design, like morphed one head to the other as like a transition, and then this frozen body just like falls over into the water. It's kind of cool. Yeah, and when is
I want to point out
morphing was invented in 1988 at ILM. So this is not
7 years.
This is not a computer generated imagery effect, but it is manipulation, digital manipulation of imagery. The idea of morphing is like, you set these 10 points, and then on the thing you want to change to, you set the same 10 points, but in those spots. And the computer is like squishing the image. Every point is being squished from point A to point B. And it just kind of goes, and then it's in the new position. Like that was kind of a new thing in the early 90s.
Yeah.
But it was invented for the movie Willow, if you've ever seen Willow.
I haven't. That's cool.
Which is a movie not many people have seen, but some really, really impressive visual effects in it. It's a movie written by George Lucas and directed by Ron Howard. It's very interesting.
Interesting.
You should absolutely watch Willow. It's a classic.
Like late 80s?
It's Val Kilmer's best role, for sure.
Interesting.
1988. Huh. It's a whole tribe of little people, and then Willow, the main character, becomes a sorcerer. It's very interesting.
Cool.
Yeah. It's like George Lucas's take on like a Middle-earth kind of a fantasy world.
Yeah.
George Lucas doing high fantasy. Only time he did it. But
interesting.
It's an excellent film. Anyways. Fun fact. Yeah, some morphing in this movie. Yeah, the iceberg Godzilla falling over was cool. Iceberg Godzilla is the term I used.
Yeah. And I like how they thought they were going to get away with that. Like, they thought that was... All right, movie's over, roll the credits.
Monitor the numbers, yeah.
Yeah, just, hey, we win.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a Jaws moment in this movie, is what I'm calling it. There's a distinctive beach scene, beachgoers. And then, oh my God, run away from the ocean. Everyone's running away because of it coming ashore.
Yeah, the sea is boiling.
Yeah. Who was coming ashore? I think it's Godzilla when he's coming ashore. Pretty sure. But everyone's screaming and running away, and there's like the moment of realization as, jazz music stops and people's beach-going activities come to a halt. That kind of a moment. It felt like a Jaws moment to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels like there's a lot of homages in this movie. Yeah. Or I can tell like what the influences are, which is kind of fun. Yeah, we have laser trucks, cryo cooling Godzilla at some key moments. They're clearly the same laser trucks as in previous movie, just a different color.
Yeah, I just put a blue light
the exact same ones. And
Roxanne.
Just kind of reskinned, if you will.
Red light. Yeah.
Gotta reuse those miniatures,
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just change it.
Yeah. Funniest moment. It's not a funny movie, but
I hope you're going to say what I think you're going to say.
It's like the second or third call to fire up the Super X3 and go in to cryo freeze, and one of the pilot guys he's like, well, there's our budget for the next year.
That's amazing.
Which should be the title of this episode, I think. There goes our budget for next year. I just didn't expect them to, like, that's like such an elephant in the room thing to address in a throwaway line.
Well, it's a little bit like they're
not talking about budget in any of these movies.
It's like the traffic is going to be murder line in Shin Godzilla, just like very serious, and then you should get going. Traffic is going to be murder. Like they're trying to evacuate Tokyo. What do you?
Oh my gosh! The second I heard that line, I was like, "That's a perfect title for this episode." But really funny.
The one of the two things that I was hoping you were going to say, but you didn't. But they're all also very good moments of the movie. Same sequence. They show what's his name? Show the guy who's the pilot. He gets in the Super X-3 and he's like, "All right, let's go freeze this overgrown lizard." they go to take off, and when when Destoroyah does that thing where he like wraps his tail around Godzilla's throat and then is dragging him along the ground.
It's got like the pincher thing.
Pincher thing, and he's like sucking the life force out of him, the oxygen destroyer things. Just oxygen destroyer things.
Title.
They cut to this wide shot of, because they're at the airport, right? Because it's after,
and it's just dragging him down the runway.
Dragging it, slowly gaining air, like Godzilla slowly takes.
It's pretty funny. Yeah.
I laughed at that. That was great.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. Well, my last two comments. I mean, Godzilla melting looked really cool. Like the initial, like before it really happened,
his spine.
They showed some precursor moments. His spikes start to melt.
Yeah.
However they did that, it looked really cool. It was almost like some things like dripping off his chin or something. Like they really kind of played with it a little bit.
Yeah, skin started
really awesome.
I loved all the leading up moments to that, where he would just randomly like light would explode out of him, and then he's like, like a short little radiation burst and like just he's just kind of like twitching,
barely holding it together.
Yeah, and just like. And like, I love it. It was so cool. And then when he enters final meltdown mode, and they do all the like shooting at him and stuff, and that red like air radiation just starts pluming off the back of him. Oh, dude, it looks so cool. It was just, I think for what they were able to do, or maybe like what they had access to, either people wise or technology wise, they did a pretty okay job of showing the death of Godzilla for the series. I thought it was cool. It was just like skeleton left over from his head to midway down his neck. All the skin had melted away by the end, and he was just skeleton. So cool.
That was like kind of the one CG shot.
Yeah.
Down to the bone. Probably the only real way to do that. I mean, they wouldn't have been able to do that 10 years earlier. So, the only like last critique I have, which I'm phrasing as a critique, is you commented on like the size of all three of them.
Yeah.
It's like very, very obvious and kind of interesting during kind of like the final stages of the fight, where they're all kind of near each other. Like how huge Destoroyah is, like how much bigger Godzilla is from Junior, all that kind of stuff. Or like when Destoroyah picks up Junior and is like carrying him, he's tiny,
one claw,
tiny,
yeah,
and like drops him on a building. Like, the skill is so obvious in those moments. I think in all the moments of the film leading up to that fight, you can't really tell the scale very well. Like you said, Junior looks huge until those ending moments. I'm like, you could have. I don't know. It was really hard for me to tell how big this new Junior really was until the end.
Yeah,
and even then, like, it's kind of hard to gauge how big this is. What am I looking at here? So I don't know how you would fix that, but
I wonder if some of that
I just wish it had been more obvious how big these three were before the final fight.
Before you
like
got
physically
them
next
in
to
that
each other.
wide 3-shot together. Yeah.
Yeah, a little context before then I think would have been great. But without landmarks or something, I don't know how you gauge it.
Yeah, I have a thought on this, and it comes from, and it might just be a skill that I have, and maybe I think you probably have it too, just not here in Godzilla. But like, to some people, a guitar is a guitar, but you know that there is no such thing as like just a guitar. You can look at a guitar and probably know what brand it is, or what or like within that brand, what the model is, whatever. To get even more specific, to me, it made me that your comment there made me think of like Formula One cars, and how within a set of regulations, like over 5 years, they introduce whatever the form factor is going to be for the next 5 years, and then they iterate on that form factor. And sometimes it's like, yeah, we just introduced 13 new upgrades to the car, and you look at it and it's like, you didn't change a freaking thing until you stand there and really start looking and you go, oh, that piece curves a little bit more than that one, and that one curves a little bit. Like, they're wildly different things, but for what I'm saying is I think I've watched these movies enough times.
Yeah, because you've seen them.
To, like, not only know that, like, Godzilla was, like, I couldn't remember. It still shocked me even this watch, how much bigger Godzilla was than Junior and then Destoroyah than Godzilla. But, like, I still knew that Junior was, like, I thought they did a good job of setting the scale because I knew Godzilla was bigger than every skyscraper in Tokyo, basically. Like, he's been bigger than all the buildings for a long time. And Junior's walking in, and there are still 10 or 12 stories on this one building that he's walking up to as he's just kind of loping along. So that gave me that sense of scale without having to, like, really see it, to, like, know, hey, this is Junior. One, because he's not on fire and his spikes are tiny and stuff. But, like, yeah, I don't know. But like I said, maybe it's like, yeah, I just have more exposure to this than you. So, but who knows?
Yeah, they could have maybe made Junior's eyes a little bigger or something.
Yeah,
because his head design was like very, very close to Godzilla.
Yeah.
Other than like scale,
there find it
a lot of distinguishing factors other than the color and the pulsating and all that.
Yeah, color, pulsating.
So.
Junior's skin had a little more, like, there was still like that yellowish green,
different
kind of
almost.
Younger looking skin in the center. In general, he's a little more green.
Of a green black.
Yeah. I also noticed though that he walks more like a T-Rex, more like forward than Godzilla. Godzilla walks like straight up, and they show that like
1998.
When Junior except for 98, when Junior rises up out of the ashes there, he's standing straight up like Godzilla does. But that, especially that scene where he's walking in Tokyo Bay into the city, he's like very
little
over
hunched.
His haunches, like forward leaning.
Yeah.
Using his tail for more balance than whatever. Yeah. So yeah, dude,
a lot of cool design stuff in this movie.
Godzilla dies. The suits are just so cool. I just want to watch those. That last, like, from where Godzilla shows up and it's dark out. I mean, that entrance scene alone is so freaking cool because, like, it's dark, he's glowing, but then it's like spotlights up the side and they're moving, and it's like I thought they did a really great job of, like, they didn't do day for night in the name of, like we talked about a couple episodes ago, how I thought there was some day for night stuff in the name of being able to, like, differentiate between Godzilla in the background, mostly to, like, fix how dark everything was. They didn't do that. They kept it dark behind him, and we're just doing all this really edgy, moody, like, lighting, and it was so cool. And I wish the movie was a little bit higher quality, or maybe even like HDR or something, so that could really, like, really shine.
I will say I was surprised. The shot quality wasn't super high this movie. Almost a step down from the last movie. And last few movies I've had multi-channel audio. This movie was just released in stereo. I don't know why.
Weird.
Thought that was strange.
Because it was this and Space Godzilla were released together by TriStar in the United States.
Were they? Like, as a pack or something?
Yeah, basically, at the same time. So that's kind of weird.
Yeah. So, a lot of amazing visuals in this movie.
Yeah.
Big fan.
Big fan. All the great visuals. I just pulled up the VHS cover for this, Godzilla vs. Destoroyah. And at the bottom, I'm just scrolling through the Godzilla wiki, and at the bottom, there's the tagline is, "It's a major monster meltdown."
I did read that one of the marketing posters for this movie just basically said Godzilla dies.
Yeah.
And it probably got a lot of attention.
That's the tagline on the Japanese poster. And then the North American VHS tagline is, "It's a major monster meltdown." But yeah, it's just Godzilla dies down the right-hand side of the poster. It's amazing.
So I'm looking at the trivia of this film.
Yeah, dude. Can I start?
Go for it.
So as part of the marketing of this film, Toho did a bunch of publicity stunts basically to really get it out there that this was going, that Godzilla was dying. This is the death of Godzilla. One of the things was they took Big Pool, which was the stunt pool that they'd used since the 60s. Basically every water-based scene in a Godzilla movie or a Toho movie since the 60s was shot in Big Pool outside of the studio. And they filled it in and paved it over and turned it into a parking lot. Cute. Is that Jack Johnson? The paradise, put up a parking lot. So there's that. The dude who was who took over special effects on the 1989 movie, Return of Godzilla, 88 movie, 89, Koichi...
84.
84, yeah. So Koichi Kawakita, he had been in charge of special effects since then. He announced that he was retiring from Toho and going to work as a toy designer at Bandai. And then after the movie was released, Toho held a publicly attendable funeral on December 13? No. Hang on 1 second. Yeah, early December 1995. They had a funeral for Godzilla. With all the creators there, everybody wearing suits. There was a big memorial of a picture of him with flowers and a big statue of him next to it, and you could come up and look and get your picture taken, and the news was there and everything. And apparently, according to a comment I saw on whatever forum that was, CNN showed it here in America as a thing that was actually happening. This is Godzilla's funeral.
Amazing.
So, is that the birth of that kind of viral marketing or that kind of hype marketing? Who knows? But it's some pretty cool ideas to kind of market the really yeah. So that's my first bit of trivia. What do you got?
It's the composer from the original 1954.
Akira.
This was his last film. He retired. Went out with a bang. This was his last one. So,
and then he died 10 years later or something.
Yeah, there's some other trivia items kind of related to that, but yeah, it just kind of all adds up to this was supposed to be the last movie. Yep.
There was an alternate ending for this where
I read this.
Destoroyah is still fighting Godzilla. Godzilla hasn't beaten him yet as Godzilla reaches critical temperature and begins his meltdown. And so Godzilla's pummeling Destoroyah even though he's melting down. The Super X3 is shooting them with both of them with the ultra low temperature lasers and blah blah blah, and it's eventually Destoroyah can't take it, he dies, and then Godzilla dies, but it's bang bang, and eventually the studio said,
and they kind of both melt, right?
Yeah, they melt and just disintegrate. But the studio eventually said, no, Godzilla needs to like die by himself. Like just give him center stage for that. So they like recut it and re-edit it to have Destoroyah die.
That makes sense.
Before the final meltdown. The final meltdown.
Final item here. They gave less special effects time to the special effects director on this movie than many of the previous films. They actually did what they did in this movie in less time than like the last 3 or 4 movies. So the post-production time was only like 3 weeks. Really impressive, the result, given all that.
That almost tells me that they were like, they knew they were building to this. Like
they knew it was going to be the last one. But.
Yeah, like there's no way they got. I mean, I understand that they did like gave it less time or whatever, but I'm just thinking of like all the model building, all the suits, all the like total turnaround. That's insane.
Yeah, and he kept asking for more time and money, and they were just saying no.
So. Dang. My last one is that the original poster painted by Noriyoshi is the only one in the Heisei era that, pardon me, that depicts Godzilla all the way in the background and his opponent in the foreground. And the idea was that even though Destoroyah is evil and a monster and like the adversary here, Godzilla's meltdown could potentially destroy the planet as an even bigger like threat. And so he is the actual like threat here in the movie. So those posters are so cool, dude. Just man.
Yeah, it's cool stuff.
I wish the movie was as cool as the poster. Not title. Not doing that.
Not title. No. Gonna pause here for station identification.
Do we need to? Yeah, we need it. Yeah, we need
probably.
To. Okay. Yeah.
What'd you rate it?
4 out of 5.
And I'll raise you none because I also gave it 4 out of 5.
I believe that's calling.
Well, I did. I retracted what I was saying, so it doesn't count.
Did you have it
It's
higher?
A solid one. What?
Did you have it as a 4.5?
No.
Oh.
It is 4 out of 5.
Okay. Yeah, it's a solid one for sure.
I did not rate a Godzilla movie higher than you. That'd be the day.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'd have broken a few social media fasts for that.
No, it's good. It's solid.
Yeah, you can see why it's a fan favorite. Like, it's just it's pretty good.
I can see that. I'm actually sorting now. I want to see what movies I gave a 4 out of 5 from these eras. Original Godzilla, of course. Looks like also Mothra versus Godzilla, Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, Terror of Mechagodzilla, and this movie.
Which, like...
So...
like that's pretty much like my favorites, kind of like after, like not in any particular order, but after -1
speaking, up until this point, those are the ones that I have given a 4 out of 5. So
nice.
Yeah. All the way down to All Monsters Attack at a 2 out of 5.
Woof.
Yeah.
Woof.
So.
Okay, so I've got a bit of explaining here to do. A little bit of maybe we'll actually get somebody to join us on Patreon here. We'll see. The next movie that we're actually going to watch is
Wait.
No, the next Godzilla movie that will be coming out here for you to watch is what's it going to be? Sorry, my things are breaking. What's the next?
Well, other than our side tangent that we're
which I'll get
to.
That's not what I'll start this over.
Definitely gonna rewatch Godzilla 2000. At least I am, just to refresh my memory. And then I believe, let's see, I'm pulling it up here. I think it's Godzilla versus Megaguirus.
Megaguirus, yes. Destoroyah, Millennium, Megaguirus. Yep. Okay, so I
probably don't need to rewatch Godzilla 2000 since Godzilla vs. Megaguirus is not a sequel to Godzilla 2000.
It's not. Get into this weird this is the era that begins where the only thing that actually matters is 1954.
So maybe I just go straight to Megaguirus.
Yeah. Goodness, this is terrifying. I need to clip that.
What is happening?
I'm on Godzilla.com, and I was looking through the movies, and there's a little pop-up from the website. It's sign up for 15% off your next purchase, whatever, at the Godzilla store, so give us your email. But there's a GIF from a 70s Godzilla movie with him doing side-eye kind of and it's just looping really weird, and it's a really weird Goji suit. And I'm just going to take a little video with my phone. I don't feel like doing anything fancy.
Are you going to be okay over there?
Oh, dude, it's so funny. We'll cut that in here. Tippy toe, lemon tree. So I have a little bit of explaining to do. The next movie that comes out here for us chronologically, we've already watched Godzilla 2000 Millennium. That was at the beginning of this show, we watched all of the rebirth or the we're starting from the beginning. So we watched that one already. So the next movie is Godzilla versus Megaguirus from 2000. We've got black holes. We've got modern Japan. We've got a new Godzilla design that is still the same. It's still Junior. He just got a glow up. That's all. He just looks different. He looks cool. But these two movies, Godzilla 2000 Millennium and Godzilla Megaguirus, are not the next two movies that have come from Toho. As we've talked about this whole episode, Godzilla vs. Destoroyah was the death of Godzilla, and Toho put Godzilla on hiatus. Admittedly, eventually they would admit to we're just trying to drum up a want for the series. We want people to miss Godzilla. They've been cranking movies out pretty consistently for a long time. And so in the space of 1995 to 1999, Toho made three more I want to get this word right.
Kaiju movies?
Yeah, no. It's the word before it. Tokusatsu. So they made three more tokusatsu kaiju films.
I'm making a Gen Z edit of this whole spiel.
And I don't know what that means, and I'm excited to see it.
It means it's going to be just the bits and the boops.
It's just me breathing.
Yep. Yeah. Definitely doing that. Between Godzilla vs. Destoroyah and Godzilla 2000 Millennium, they released three more kaiju films, all centered around the queen of the monsters, Mothra. And they are aptly named Rebirth of Mothra, Rebirth of Mothra 2, and you guessed it, Rebirth of Mothra 3. They can count.
They are a absolute wild ride. They had no, it's as if because Godzilla isn't directly attached to it, they said, "Hey, Jim Henson, give us some of your drugs and let's make some movies."
Is it a Muppet? Is it a kaiju? We'll never know.
To find out, you're going to have to subscribe to our Patreon, because we're going to watch all 3 of those movies and then do one super episode reviewing the 3 of them at once. And it's going to be Patreon only. So if you'd like to see that and you would like to see us talking about a kaiju peeing on a person's face, you can do that by going to patreon.com/theoneaboutgodzilla movies.
He's coming to my house. He's handcuffing me to the radiator, and he's force feeding these movies down my throat. And then... much like the comic of Deadpool force-feeding vegetarians meatloaf.
And then I'm going to make you
we'll talk about it.
Eat kefir with spent grains and organic blueberries. Speaking of force-feeding, this has been the One About Godzilla movies. Do you have anything else to say, Brian?
No.